Hello, hello, hello. This is 3D or 2D.com's The 3D Show.
The goodbye edition. Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolf, and I'm with New Jake / Jacob.
Hi, everybody.
So, how you doing? This is the end. How do you feel?
I'm bittersweet.
This is going to be probably the last podcast, or more
Yeah.
likely the last podcast you ever do with us. You might do some stuff with me later for other things, but it won't be for 3D or 2D, unless
Right.
something happens miraculously that I don't foresee. You never know. Bezos might call me up and say, "Hey, I like your stuff. I'll pay you guys $5 million a year to do it." And we're like, "Yes, sir."
He is getting married, so maybe he's feeling generous.
Maybe you need to go kiss the ring and get a favor from the like a mob.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't refuse.
So, I'm going to ask you some questions, just in kind of your exit interview / final podcast for the listeners. So, what are some of your best memories you have with the website and the podcast?
Oh, just having great times, like just recording and just watching the movies. For the most part, watching the good movies. Just going to the theater, having a good time, chatting with you guys, having some great laughs.
Anything specific?
No, not that I could think of, but it's just so many good laughs that we've had. Having a good time.
All right. Worst memories?
I can't really think of any really, except maybe, oh God, what is that movie I had to watch that was awful?
Now, you've driven sometimes you've been driven pretty far to watch a movie, right? Maybe those are some bad memories?
I mean, not really bad, because it's fun exploring other places, but like driving almost 2 hours one way to go see Raya and the Last Dragon was not great, but I still had a good time driving there and seeing another part of my home state that I've never been to.
I usually record this in your car, so right or no?
Yes, I'm in my house right now because it's raining.
So is that something that's going to be weird that all the podcasts are recorded in your car, and now you have a different car, right? So
yeah, I just got a new car.
So no more car problems with I can't review this because this thing this car issue or whatever.
I mean, knock on wood. Yeah.
What car is it, if you don't mind
It's
sharing?
a 2023 Kia Sportage that I got.
Okay. And your previous car?
2013 Jeep Compass.
So, the reason why you recorded in the car, I don't know. Sometimes you might hear rain in the podcast. You may have heard it, or drops. And that was because it's just the quietest area you could record without having any background noise.
Yeah. Right, because my apartment it's like kind of even worse sometimes.
And that's a revelation that I don't know if anyone knew about.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever shared that before, or if we ever recorded that with anyone or patrons or anybody. So, you usually record in your car, and it might be hot. Hot or raining or something. Or, there's been times where, the signal gets lost because it's just, in the car outside instead.
Right.
Okay. What is it like to be a podcaster, or a micro influencer? For those who are curious.
It was fun. It's just it's fun just talking about movies and just random stuff. And I wouldn't mind doing it for a living, but it's extremely difficult in reality to be a podcaster without having a second job,
Yeah. Have anyone ever caught you? Oh, I know you from the podcast, or I saw your review. Anyone ever happened to do that to you in real life or Facebook or anything?
No, unfortunately not. But sometimes like some people I tell, I'd be like, oh, I record stuff. Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, I do movie reviews. And I'm like, oh, do you get paid? I'm like, no, it's just for fun mainly, but it's fun. I don't mind it. It's just a hobby.
Now, just out of curiosity, for people listening, what equipment do you use? I mean, I would do all the recording and editing, but what equipment do
Right.
you use so that way people know? Well, if Jacob's audio quality sucks, so that's not my fault. It's your fault.
I mean, currently, I have a Google Pixel 6a, so it doesn't have a headphone jack. So I bought a $10 headphone jack adapter, and then I'm using a Skull Candy. I think it's called the 3X headphones. They're like $10 headphones, which they sound perfectly fine to me, better than some of the other $10, $20 headphones I've used before. But it's nothing crazy.
You're not using the $100 microphones from Yeti.
No,
You recorded
I
in
would
the
like
studio,
to. That'd be awesome.
and you usually record in your car, sometimes at home, depending on the situation.
Right.
And not recording in the closet, so that's something.
No, my closet doesn't even have a door. So,
And just using your internet that's on your phone or whatever, nothing too fancy, Wi-Fi or anything super
right.
fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Like it's a 5 gigahertz internet, so not bad.
Now, for a long time on the website and the podcast, I've called you New Jake, and
Yeah.
recently I've tried to say Jacob. Did you like it that I start saying Jacob instead of New Jake, or do you not care?
It doesn't really matter because Jacob is my name. Um, like if I'm like amongst friends or family, I prefer to be called Jake. But even at work, some people still call me Jacob, and I don't mind. It's just my name. They're interchangeable, really.
What is it like being a film reviewer for anyone who's curious?
It's fun. It's just kind of interesting, like I yeah, I always share my opinions about movies, regardless, either written or verbal form. But, like sometimes being under a deadline to, meet, try to be current and relevant. It can be a little stressful, but kind of fun at the same time because sometimes the best writing you do or the best stuff you do in general can be under a time crunch.
Now, you just type on your computer or on your phone?
A mixture of both. Like I could do like I'll keep notes on my phone, and sometimes if I feel fancy, I'll get on my computer and do it. But if not, I'll just do it all on the phone using Google Docs usually.
Now, we've actually had a good opportunity. This year, unfortunately, we did not get a chance to have any of your reviews this year, so that's sad.
Right.
Just, availability and time just sucks sometimes, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Fighting with the old car was furious, and it just
Now,
hate it.
last year, however, for your review for Strange World, we actually were able to do what I'd like to do, which is what, in theory, all editors in chief should do is have a back and forth and say, hey, why did you say this? Or why did you do that? Did you wish I was able to do that more? Because it's just a matter of, getting the deadlines done and getting it done ASAP. But did that bother you, or is it something that you actually wanted more of?
No, I mean, I don't want to be, totally, kind of having a back and forth. It is a nice, healthy thing as long as it's like either constructive criticism or support or whatever. But yeah, it was fun.
Okay. Because I already tried to be decent and be like, okay, I'm not going to say, oh, your review here, you should have given it a 4 when, gave it an 8. I don't care. That's not my job. My job is to make
Yeah,
sure that you write in a way that sounds like you're giving it an 8 instead of you write in a way that, oh, you're just, pissed all over a movie and then you're like, oh, give it a 7. And it's like, wait, you didn't put any positives here,
yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, the Strange World wasn't like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, the movie's in the news lately. I don't know if you heard about that.
What's that?
That movie was in the news recently. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh no, what about?
A teacher in Florida put it on for the kids to watch, and because it has gay themes, the teacher got fired and became a big thing.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Been like about a month or two ago.
Yeah. And then you had the opportunity to watch some movies in 3D that the rest of the staff were never able to. Was that something exciting for you to have that?
Oh yeah, I was totally surprised because I'm sure the other people live in more populated areas than I do. Probably especially since you're out in Texas.
Yeah.
It was kind of trippy, like Wonder Woman 84 and
Rhea.
Raya. Oh, God, it wasn't really worth it, but Raya was still an all right movie, all right 3D.
But yeah, it's that's a fun thing. I wanted to have English or Indian or other kind of editors that out around the world, but it's hard to find someone that would scheduling make that even harder. But that way, there might be some movies that I think Fast X got a 3D release, but outside the U.S., of course, but not in the U.S. So it's like, well, I don't know, well, whatever,
You could have driven to Mexico, showing there.
I ain't driving 4 hours to Mexico.
I don't blame you. Just for Fast X.
Yeah, no way.
Maybe they'll get a 3D Blu-ray release. Who knows?
Now, originally, you did get to write one 3D Blu-ray review. Now, I did. We didn't actually get it. I don't never got time to edit it and put it up on for the public, but it did get put on for the patrons, and that was for the Croods 2.
Yes.
So, I guess, do you want to share that with people what you thought of the Croods 2 on Blu-ray, since that was not publicly made before, and
Yeah, sure. The Croods 2. I forgot the subtitle of it, but I just call it the Croods 2. I think it's something age, but anyway, the movie itself was fine. Seeing it flat in theaters during COVID, which is kind of weird because I'd have to drive 4 hours to go see it. And I wasn't worth it, but it was a fine movie. But getting it at home, thankfully in 3D, it looked magnificent. It was like colorful. It just had that pop. Better 3D than the first movie.
Yeah, it was Croods: The New Age, which it
The
kind
New
of
Age.
yeah, it kind of flopped. I don't remember it game making that much money.
No, I mean, during COVID, I think it did plenty of right. I think it made a lot more money at home streaming and video sales and stuff. But yeah, theatrically, it didn't make a dent, kind of like Raya and stuff. But COVID just changed the landscape practically forever.
Yeah, the Croods, the first one made about 500 million, and then the second one made it 200, so it made about half, about, give or take. Just doing a quick search right now. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
considering with COVID, yeah, pretty solid.
it literally came out in Christmas or right before Thanksgiving of 2020. So
yeah, it was pretty cool when I seen it.
how
And
did
it's just like an empty theater.
And then I remember one time whenever we reviewed Boss Baby, and you're like, seriously? You gave that editor's choice great 3D? And I was like, oh, wow.
Oh yeah, I stand by that. I still do. I think it's fantastic 3D still. The movie is not fantastic. It's watchable, but top notch 3D.
Universal knows how to make it.
Oh yeah. DreamWorks, they know how to use their 3D still. Still excited to go see Ruby Gillman, even though the film doesn't look like it's going to be good. I think it'll be good 3D because the trailer in front of Little Mermaid made it look alright.
We haven't talked about movies in a little bit since just availability. Without really spoiling it, what do you think of Little Mermaid? I didn't like it.
Yeah, me neither. But I seen your score for it, like 4 out of 10. I think that's a little low. I gave it like probably a 5 out of 10, but I went with some friends with my girlfriend, and they seemed to enjoy it more than I did. But I just couldn't get into it. It was better than Mulan, I'll say that much.
That Scuttle song is oh my god, I hate
Yes.
it so much.
Yeah, because like it takes you out because it seems like the film takes place in either the 1800s. There's no really defined time period except for like based on the set design and costumes. And then yeah, whenever it gets to the scuttlebutt song, and it's almost shot like a music video near the end of the song, terrible. And Lin Manuel Miranda should be ashamed for having done that song.
What do you think of the 3D? I really love the 3D.
The 3D was excellent. Like there's a couple points, uh, ironically, whenever the ship is about to
Shipwreck
do
scene.
its thing
Yeah.
near the end, um, it almost poked my eye, kind of like Jungle Cruise. So it almost poked my eye out, but yeah, it was really solid 3D, almost editor's choice, but not quite.
Yeah, some of the on land stuff was kind of weird. Without
Yeah,
without really spoiling it, the ending was just bonkers, bananas, craziness to me.
yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that I have someone to talk to about it. Now, we never got
Yeah.
your opinion on Guardians 3. So, what's your thoughts on Guardians 3 without spoiling?
Oh God. Really, really good. Not my favorite of the Guardians trilogy. Probably Volume Two is still my favorite one. I think the first one is still my least favorite. But the 3D in all of them is fantastic. This one's a little bit more subdued, but it is a darker film visually a little bit, and with the story definitely.
What score would you
It
give
is
that?
the film itself 8.
Okay.
8 out of 10. It's just like that's the more down to earth, and the animal abuse stuff is brutal, and also the production design, like whenever they're on that bio thing, I don't know what you'd call it. That bio facility
Yeah.
was gross but lovely, but in the 3D really shine there. It's a really good movie. It's just a hard watch, better than Ant-Man 3. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Almost better than most stuff in Phase 4 too. It's just I miss James Gunn's filmmaking, and he's still here.
Are you more excited for DC stuff now that he's a part of that?
I'll see past the Flash and Blue Beetle, and then I'll see how he feels, because it still feels weird how DC is just kind of flatlining at this point. Like I don't, the Flash looks interesting, but will I go see it? Maybe. I don't know. There's still no word on 3D.
Oh yeah, there's no 3D for that. I checked on my end.
Jesus. Uh, I mean, it comes out on my birthday weekend, so I might see it. I don't know.
I mean, that's part of the difficulty. Sometimes you didn't have 3D screens and I didn't have it, and sometimes Jake did, and sometimes you weren't available and I was available, and is that push and pull makes it so hard to do our jobs and have fun. And if it's just something that if every single theater that was nearby us that had it in 3D, had everything in 3D, and looked great, then it wouldn't be that much of a pain to do it. This website and podcast forever.
Right. Yeah.
Um, when you wrote reviews, did you have you ever changed your score on something like when you first started thinking about it, and then like an hour or two later, oh no, it's not that good, or as you write, the process of writing the review, did you ever change your scores or not really?
I have, but it was never really that much. Because like the initial feelings that you like with Little Mermaid, for instance, I did give that like a D- after getting out of the theater, and people are like, "What? Why'd you hate it?" I just didn't like it, but I think it's mainly because I was starving and I had to use the bathroom, and the movie just wouldn't end where it should
Oh yeah, it's like 4 hours long. It feels like it.
have. Yeah, and like yeah, the pacing is off in that movie compared to the original animated movie, which is not even 80 minutes. But uh, then I had time to get something to eat and reflect, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not a D-, it's C-. It's like a 5 out of 10. It's perfectly middle of the road. I had to reflect on it. Like visually, it's awesome. Like, most of the CGI is awesome. The flounder's awful.
Yeah, well, and for I said this in my review, but I'll say it again. The fish having the googly eyes and the fake mouth, it just couldn't. I could not unsee that. It does not work. It does not work. It does not work. It just is weird.
Yeah, but yeah, and then Sebastian was super annoying. And like David Diggs's voice is just not really a good fit for Sebastian. I feel.
Like when you see a movie, are you thinking, "I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this or that," or you don't just let everything just be in the moment?
I mean, I like finding moments to pick apart, but like I actively don't look for it. If it's presented to me, then I will. Like, the Scuttlebutt song, the bad CGI of like Flounder and the character design. But I just want to live in the moment usually. But whenever an opportunity arises, I am going to make fun of it or talk about it like, that's a great moment or that's a bad moment. I like being spontaneous like that.
Okay, okay. I know sometimes it's one of those things where we don't really have, or in theory, some reviewers have taken pad of paper with them and write as they're watching the movie, but that's kind of one of those things. It's so hard to do, and I don't want to be distracted by anyone else, or distract anyone else while I'm watching something. So, like, do you ever like talk about a movie and then like your girlfriend or whatever, fiance, I think it is, right? Or is it girlfriend? I
Yep.
don't know. Does
Yeah.
she ever tell you something you're like, ooh, I'm going to steal that and put it in the podcast, or or no?
Yeah. I mean, usually we seem to be on very similar wavelengths of like being entertained by something. Like if something really points out like with Sebastian or Flounder, then it's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Just kind of something like that. But yeah,
Okay. Now I'm gonna have here some stuff to you could talk about. We've had many movies that were rated a 7 out of 10, and these movies, obviously you didn't review all of them, and I didn't review all
yeah.
of them, and it's just kind of a mix of different editors, but they're all sevens, and there's 7 movies, and I'll ask you, what do you think is the best movie of the 7 movies I'm gonna list? Okay.
Okay,
So I'm just going to say the names, and then I'll say them all first, and then I'll let you tell me which one you think is the best of all of them, and which one's the worst, too. Okay.
okay,
First up, Lightyear.
yeah,
Second up, Ray of the Last Dragon.
okay,
Godzilla vs. Kong. Jumanji, Welcome into the Jungle. Rampage, Spy in Disguise, and Dark Phoenix. Which one do you think is the best? Which one do you think is the worst of the set?
Oh, geez. Oh man, that's a toughie because I've never seen Rampage or Spies in Disguise.
Okay.
So I'll knock those out of contention. Um, Man, Raya, I've actually moved lower in my list. That'd be like a 6 for me, easy. Probably Godzilla versus Kong. That was just a fun movie to watch.
Okay. And then the worst?
Uh, so it was, what was the movies again? It was Lightyear, Godzilla versus Kong, Raya, Dark Phoenix, Spies in Disguise, Rampage, and what was the 7th movie? Jumanji.
Yeah.
Even though I still kind of like the movie, I'm gonna have to say probably Lightyear
Okay.
because it opened up on my birthday, and I'm like, well, this is a disappointing gift for myself.
Do you think that's something that's going to be, you'll remember? Oh, yeah, I did a review for that. Oh, yeah, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever, when you're old. Oh, yeah, I reviewed that movie for a website, young, young guy. Are you going to remember that, or is that going to be something you forget?
I mean, I should be able to remember it. Knock on wood.
Okay, so talk about sevens. Now, we have the worst movies here. No. Uh, some of them were before your time. I think a lot of them are. And instead of 7, let's do a 10 list. So,
Okay.
like I said, let me say the names of these movies, and obviously, some of them are really bad, and some of them are just bad. But all right, Jupiter Ascending, Gods of Egypt, Alice Through the Looking Glass, Ghostbusters 2016, Exodus: Gods and Kings, The Emoji Movie, The Mummy with Tom Cruise, Wonder Park, Skyscraper, and A Wrinkle in Time.
I've only seen 3 of those.
Okay, which
Oh,
of the 3, which ones were the worst?
oh, Jesus! God, I want to say all of them.
No, you gotta pick.
Oh, it's so hard. Oh, God. Oh,
Which ones did you see?
let's see. It was Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
and then
Jupiter Ascending, Gods of
never
Egypt.
seen it. Never
Okay,
seen it.
Alice Through the Looking
Uh,
Glass.
never seen it.
Emoji Movie,
Okay, I've seen that, but not in 3D.
The Mummy.
Okay, I've seen the Mummy, and I've seen. I couldn't even finish the Mummy. I've seen halfway through. I was so bored. So I'll say that's the worst one because I finished the Emoji Movie. It was what I expected it to be. So I'm gonna have to say the Mummy with Tom Cruise because I couldn't even finish it. And this was just watching it at home on like streaming, and it was so boring. I don't even think 3D could save that movie.
Oh yeah, I reviewed The Mummy. I went to see the theaters for that, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then I watched the Ghostbusters 2016 movie, and not great, but I did finish it, and there's a couple of decent moments, even though just wasn't good.
Okay.
It was just bad.
Now going from the bad to the good, um, we have some of the best movies here, at least the best reviewed. Some of them before your time, some of them during the time. Some of them we talked about together or on the air. So here's a list: Avengers: Infinity War,
Oh,
Avengers
so good.
Endgame,
Also good.
Titanic,
Yeah,
They Shall Not Grow Old,
never seen it, but I want to.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse,
Excellent movie.
Puss in Boots: Last Wish,
So good.
How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3,
Mm.
Missing Link,
Like,
and Toy Story 4. What of those 9 movies did you like the most? Or is the best?
oh God, that is such a loaded question because it's subjective,
I know, I'm asking you. What do you think it is?
right? It's so hard because I've never seen How to Train Your Dragon 3 or Toy Story 4, so knock those out of there. Or I've never seen They Shall Not Grow Old or whatever that's called. But man, Titanic's really good. Uh,
To Titanic?
yeah, I've seen Titanic, but okay, it's kind of a tie between Avengers: Infinity War and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish because both of those are excellent movies. Uh, Puss in Boots 2
Yeah,
because I actually seen it theatrically.
me and you are the only people that watched it from the site. Classic Jake is like, I'm not going to watch it until I watch it in 3D, and he never got to watch it in 3D. So it was great. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I was surprised at how much I loved that movie.
Now, there's definitely a lot of people that go back and forth between Infinity War and Endgame. I still love Endgame, but I love Infinity War a little more.
I mean, yeah, Infinity War. I mean, like if you combine them into one movie, it'd be a fantastic movie. But as is, Infinity War works better as a great film, like a great character study of a villain, and then Endgame is just a fun blockbuster.
So this is something that we haven't had a chance to talk about with other people because no one else was a gamer. Um, what 3DS games did you really enjoy during your time? What 3DS games did you not enjoy? Do you have anything on top of your head that you want to
I
remember?
mean, Super Mario 3D Land is still like probably top tier. Like as a game, it's all right, but like for a 3D visual experience, it's really damn good. Uh, Even though this one wasn't in 3D, is that one you made me try to review, but I couldn't because I just couldn't play the game. Is that Silvertown game? I think was like a Atari 2600 adventure title. It was just so bad.
Silver Falls, not Silver
Silver
Town.
Falls, that's it. Silver. Thank you.
So there's multiple Silver Falls games. And the second one I think was I gotta see which one the second one is. But yeah, you did try to play it though, right?
Yes, I tried for hours, and I was just like, this is so bad. I can't say nothing about it except just bad. It's just I can't say nothing about the graphics because it was an intentional design choice to be Atari 2600 style, but it's just the gameplay was just not fun. It was just if I had to play this back in the 1970s or 80s during the heyday of the 2600, I would just throw it away because it was so bad.
I never really played it because of just time. I mean, we got it for review, and I talked to the developer, and he understands. It's a weird time, and it's hard to justify spending time on something that is not 3D. Um, and Atari games from that far back are just so hard to play.
Yeah, like if you're playing simpler titles like Breakout or Pong or whatever, it's fun, but when you only have one analog stick, one button, and you have to use like toggle switches on the console to do other commands, that is bananas. I am not going to have a good time with that.
I think it was Silver Falls Undertakers is a specific
Yeah.
one. But you didn't. You don't have a new 3DS or new one with the control stick or whatever, the C stick and the better 3D, right? You don't just have the classic 3DS.
Yes.
Okay. Now for me, I love my Majora's Mask. I absolutely loved that thing, and I didn't mind the remake. I mean, it's kind of a funny thing because it's a remake, but there's so I don't know if I would count that as some of the best, but technically best remake, I guess. I love the Majora's Mask more than Ocarina of Time, so I don't know if you played either one of them.
Not on the 3DS. I've played them on I had a compilation disc I got on a GameCube,
Okay.
and they're fun, but I could tell they're 19 or Nintendo 64 titles, and they're kind of held back technologically, but they're fine.
Um. So for me, the best overall original game was actually the first game I got to review, which this is a fun story. So I was listening to IGN's voice chat, and Boson was on the podcast a long time ago, like 10 years ago, longer, and then he left to be part of his own Way Forward development group, and they made Shantae games, and whenever I got the website started, I was like, oh, I really, really want to review this game because I was going to buy it anyway because I liked the DSi game. And I asked for the review, and I actually got it, and I was like, I'm legit. um, and it's fantastic. It's a great 3D game. It's just a great Metroidvania kind of style. And the layering is beautiful. It's such a great game, and it's so much fun. I want to play more of them. I think I played most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And
What's the game's called?
Shantae.
Okay, yeah, I've heard the Shantae game. Never played any of them though.
So Shantae originally came out on 2002 for Game Boy Color, way back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, and then I think this is Risky's Revenge, 2010. And there was like a DSi game as well that's really good, but the 3DS one is the one that I reviewed, and I love that game. Absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. It is a lot of fun, and the Pirate's Curse. So
Okay.
Risky's
That game's
Revenge.
crazy expensive.
Yeah, Risky's Revenge is on DSi. Original is a Game Boy Color, and then when I reviewed was Pirate's Curse on the 3DS, which came out in 2014. And I remember the owner of the company, said, "Oh, great! I gave it a 9 out of 10," and he was so happy. And I was like, "It deserved it. I loved it." Great eShop only game, and I think they have a physical version too.
Yes, through a limited run game.
And the worst game, I don't know if you've played this, but it really pissed me off. But I know it was on purpose. But you're the only person that I can talk to about this because you get it. The angry video game. The angry video game nerd
never
game.
Played that.
But you've seen
I've
his
heard
work,
of it.
right?
Oh yeah, I've been watching James for years.
James Ralph. I didn't know you were first name basis with him. Jeez.
Oh no, it's just it's what everybody calls him on like YouTube and stuff.
So Angry Video Game Nerd is a game that had a 3DS 1 and 2. So they had a game based on him, which is really meta because he was reviewing games. So then he made a bad game, and the game. So you're playing the bad game, but he's aware he's in a bad game, and it's a bad game. But it's supposed to be a bad game, but then it's not fun. So it's just tedious and annoying and aggravating. And it's like, okay, yes, you're mocking that, but you're not. You could do a parody of a video game. That would be cool. I would appreciate that. But this is just a bad video game that you labeled Angry Video Game Nerd, and it's so infuriating to play. I beat that thing, and it pissed me off so many times. And it's just like, I get that you're trying to mock that there's so many cheap kills and bad level design, but you could make it fun in that way. A good parody is making fun of it and also enjoyable. It's not just painful to play, and this is painful to play. There's a second game, I never played it, never ever, and I hated this, I hated it so much. It did have 3D though, that was cool, at least.
Yeah. How was the 3D on it?
It was good. It was good layering. Not as good as Sante, but it was good layering.
Right.
And it's so frustrating. It's just, yay, you're pointing out all the bad things in video games, but you make your game that way. It's not fun. It's just annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate games that are hard for the sake of being hard without like fun gameplay or whatever.
It reminded me of like Scream 5. Not Scream 5.
Like
Scary Movie 5 or whatever.
Oh God, yeah. I was gonna say Scream 5 was pretty good.
Scary Movie 5 is like, they're so bankrupt of ideas, and it was so bad. And yes, they're making fun of these things, but it's not a good movie in its own way. You could have a fun parody movie and still be enjoyable. That weird semi-documentary with Weird Al Yankovic, that's hilarious. And I
want to see that movie.
It's a parody, and it's hilarious, and it's fun, and it's a good parody of kind of documentary kind of things. That's how you do that. And this game, no. I hate that game. Okay. What scores do you think? What movies do you think were underrated by us, or low, or too underrated or overrated? You have anything?
Like I think I got one for overrated.
Okay. I guess overrated overall.
Gemini Man. Like y'all kind of liked the movie, and I just hated it. I thought it was an abysmal film. Like the 3D was largely great, but I just thought it was a bad movie.
Okay. Underrated? Do you have anything?
Not off the top of my head. I would have to check.
Okay. What else you got? What were some surprise 3D movies that you're going to review it and you're like, oh, this is actually way better than I thought it was going to be?
I mean, I was super surprised that Scream 6 was getting a 3D release.
Okay.
And, it's better than I thought it was going to be because, Scream, I have never seen Scream 4, but Scream 3 was good, But like, and then Scream 5 was pretty good. But I was surprised. Like, this is probably one of the top 3 of the Scream series. I was super surprised by that, and the 3D was not bad either.
What score would you give that?
The film itself, probably a 7. The 3D, it was good 3D. It wasn't great. But overall, the film was like a 7 out of 10. All the stuff combined.
Okay. Now, one thing, it drove me nuts that you would always still score individual 3D and not like use the scoring system I invented. You kept, oh yeah,
Right.
that's an 8 out of 10. Like, damn it, Jake. You gotta fit into that mold. So I feel bad that you never really got onto that.
Right.
Is the system too complicated or is it just too simple?
No, I think it's a bit too simple. I mean, because you have what? You have editor's choice, you have good 3D, you have is it poor 3D or bad 3D?
Weak 3D, good 3D, great
Weak
3D, and editor's choice. So 4 things.
Right. I don't know. I don't know. That spectrum is just a bit too shallow. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's something behind the scenes that you guys probably didn't know that I would go after. It's like, well, you gave it a 7. What the hell does that mean? Is it supposed to be good or is it good? Great. It's like, oh, I guess it's good. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
I mean, good for the 3D aspect. Like, you would give it a score to both. And it's like, people want to know if it's good or if it's great or if it's bad. If it's really amazing, they want to know. They don't want to know, well, it was, okay-ish. Because they don't have the option to pay for that. They don't have the option to pay okay-ish. They have the option to pay to watch it in 3D or not to watch it in 3D. And if
Right.
some people don't care about good 3D, they only want great 3D or even editor's choice. And maybe they're, okay, I'll put the money to watch it in Dolby IMAX, Super Cinema XD, 3D, whatever,
Right.
So, what 3D movie was most disappointing for you?
Oh God. That I've watched with my time on the channel or just in
overall,
general?
both. If you have a different
Oh
ones.
God. Lightyear was very minimal with the 3D, which was super surprising. I mean, I should have expected it's Pixar, but man, combined with the movie not being great, it just kind of hurt a lot. But also, Men in Black International is also disappointing with the 3D aspect.
Okay. Overall movie, what was most disappointing?
Oh God, probably Lightyear because I wanted to like it.
Okay. Now, what were some phenomenal 3D moments? These specific scenes, specific things. So you go spoiler crazy, whatever. What specific scene or scenes where you're like, oh, this is the scene that you got to talk about?
Oh God, like I want to put everything in that Brahmastra movie, but like specifically that opening dance sequence in for Brahmastra Part 1, Shiva, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Like that dance sequence was just phenomenal, eye candy. Let's see what else has great 3D.
This is the most phenomenal 3D. This is the top of the top.
Right. Oh God.
Now, Brahmastra was interesting for you to review because that was your first ever Bollywood movie.
Yes. And, as a movie, it didn't work for me, but it had some amazing 3D, and that was converted 3D.
Have you watched more Bollywood since?
No, I kind of want to. It's just
right.
like we haven't got any more 3D stuff, and that's what I kind of want to stick to. But I'm more open to it now.
Okay, well, that's something.
Avatar 2 had some fantastic 3D, but scenes in particular, like whenever he's swimming with that whale, it's just phenomenal. That whale-like creature.
That specific moment where it's like almost a screensaver where they're like exploring the new area with the kids.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got? What are some specific movie moments that you won't forget?
Like just in regards to the 3D or just like
overall
great cinematic moment. Oh shit.
That were in 3D movies specifically.
Okay, the ending of Endgame when Tony Stark says, "I am Iron Man," it was just a fantastic moment for a cinematic standpoint, a 3D. Well, I mean, the 3D that part was okay, but it was just like a cinematic. Like everybody cheered, because he says that Thanos is defeated, and it was just an epic moment
Yeah.
of just cinematic awesomeness.
Yep. What else you got?
Kind of going through my brain here.
What about the Doctor Strange music fight?
Yeah, that was cool, but like, I don't know. It's just it was inventive, but like, I don't know if I would. Like the audience just didn't really respond to it. It's really hard to gauge that. I mean, I thought it was a pretty cool inventive sequence, but Phase 4 of Marvel was just mid.
What about the Godzilla versus Kong fight in Tokyo?
That was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Watching the re-release of Avatar last year was pretty cool because people were still like awing and oohing, and it's like, oh, that's so pretty. It's just that was fun.
That was your first time
Not a
you
great
watched that?
movie. Yeah, I don't mind the movie. The second one's better in my opinion, but it's just like gorgeous film, but overrated as a film.
All right. What were some of the most worst moments in movies that you can't forget, or you wish that you could forget?
Oh shit. Um, I want to forget the scuttlebutt sequence in Little Mermaid. Um,
The song,
let's
the
see.
Scuttlebutt rap song with Aquafina. Yeah.
Yes, it's just all around cringe. That didn't need to be in the movie. Let's see. I kind of wish I could forget all of Gemini Man because that was just not a good movie. Um,
What about the Martha scene in Batman vs Superman?
I don't hate it, but it still is cringe. And for a film called Batman versus Super or Batman v Superman, that fight was too damn short. But I still like the movie overall. It was fine. Um,
What about the sex scene with Wonder Woman 1984?
I almost forgot I watched that movie. Yeah. Let's see. Most of Justice League, the original version with the Joss Whedon cut. I like the movie, but it's just there's so many cringy jokes that are just bad.
The Emoji Movie? All the jokes about the emojis?
Uh, okay, that one doesn't affect me that much because when I seen the trailer, I knew what I was getting into, and the film itself, well, not great. I have seen worse. People act like it's the worst movie ever, and no, it's competent in various areas.
I mean, what about the scene of Candy Crush commercial?
I mean, yeah, but like I've seen other scenes like it, in other movies with, especially with product placement and hap. So it kind of fit the world for me. Like, yeah, this is an actual cell phone. This is an actual product that people use. So, uh, yeah, I get it. It's not like grown worthy to me. It's still not great, but I'm okay with it.
What about Bumblebee actually being a good movie? Was that something that?
Yeah, that was shocking. Of the of Transformers one, that was the only one I've seen besides Bumblebee. The first one was okay, but it's just Michael Bay being Michael Bay. And I was just surprised at like how calm and collected that Bumblebee actually was comparatively.
Oh, what about the end of Skywalker, where Rey says that she's a Skywalker?
Man, that the sequel trilogy as a whole is not great. A lot of people give shit to The Last Jedi. At least it was different enough to try something. It failed, but at least it tried to be try like the subverting expectations. You know, eh, I'll give it credit for that, even though there's just some wonky choices, and then putting it just the band aid that is the Rise of Skywalker. It was just Star Wars just needs to die in general.
Were you disappointed by Age of Ultron, or you think that was too hated?
I think it's rated perfectly where it's at. It's the worst Avengers movie. It's by far not the worst MCU movie, but it's just not great. It's okay.
Okay. How excited are you for the future of 3D movies?
Well, after Avatar 2, and it's kind of great to see certain movies like with their posters saying experience in 3D or in real D 3D. It's like, oh, I haven't seen this in quite a while. Sometimes they don't even say it's going to be in 3D until the week of. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm going to keep my expectations in check. But with the advent of like VR getting better while still limiting, and there's also the potential of auto stereoscopic 3D becoming a reality at some point, would be like a widespread adoption could be in the cards, and I hope so, because I think it'd be kind of cool not having to wear the glasses and just getting like holographic or hologram type 3D would be awesome.
Um, do you have any regrets on the podcast or the website?
I just wish it could have went on for longer, go on forever.
So, Jacob, are you gonna continue watching movies in 3D after the website's over?
Oh, definitely,
Okay.
as much as I can, even the bad ones.
Every single time, or are you gonna be like, I'm not gonna review that. I don't care about watching Transformers or something.
Oh, I'm gonna watch Transformers because I've never been to the theater to see Transformers, so I've always caught them at home. So yeah, especially because with 3D Blu-rays not being extinct but becoming extremely rare to get or very expensive to get, I'll still catch it in 3D at the theater.
Okay. If you can't find it, you can't find it, and you just don't worry about it, huh?
Right. Unless, I mean, with the new car that I got, it'll be easier to travel without worry. Knock on wood. But yeah, I'll try to go see it. Maybe even in IMAX 3D for the first time.
We never did a summer preview. What summer movie are you most excited for?
Oh, Jesus. It was The Flash until I found out it wasn't going to be in 3D. I'm still excited to see how it's going to link up to the past and current DC universe. So maybe that one.
What about Indiana Jones?
Based on some of the reviews coming out of like Con and some of the festivals it's premiered at, I'm trying to keep it in check, especially after I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it still wasn't great. So I'll keep my expectations in check there.
Spider-Verse.
Yes, I am excited for Spider-Verse. It's sad that it's not going to be in 3D though. So, but I hope it's a fantastic movie.
What about Barbie?
Oh yeah, I forgot that's coming out in July, isn't it? I thought it was like December. Yeah, I'm intrigued at how that's going to be, especially opening side by side with Oppenheimer. So I bet
Oh,
Oppenheimer is going to drop the bomb in a literal figurative sense.
I mean, it looks like a good movie. I don't think it's gonna make that much money.
Yeah, I hope it's good because the last Nolan movie was Tenet, and it practically bombed at the box office.
Was it Tenet? I thought it was that World War one or World War II movie or something.
Oh, Dunkirk came out in 2017.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Tenet came out in September 2020, and like, oh yeah, it's a reason to go back to the theater, and nobody came back to the theater, and also had some bad sound too, from what I've heard.
Are you gonna watch Elemental?
Uh, it looks interesting enough. It looks generic, but yeah, comes out the same day as the Flash, so I might see it to avoid the crowds of the Flash, and maybe wait for the next weekend to watch Flash.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head that it's basically going to be the movie that we think it is, and which is kind of disappointing. And it's like, okay, I'm not super rushed to see that movie.
No, the
Mission,
3D looks pretty decent though, based on what I've seen on the trailers.
yeah. Mission Impossible.
Yes, Dead Reckoning Part One. I hope it's in 3D. I've heard rumblings that it's supposed to be, so I hope so.
Meg 2.
The first Meg was all right, and the trailer made this one look even more bonkers. So yeah, I'll give it a shot. Be a fun late summer movie.
The new Ninja Turtles.
That one looks like a fun, if knockoff version of Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse movies. But yeah, I still say it because I'm a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan.
Gran Turismo.
Oh, not what I thought it was going to be, but I like David Harbour, so I might watch it.
You play
Even though
those?
he burned me with the Hellboy movie.
You play those games?
Yes, I haven't played like none of the recent ones, but I've played up to 6 on the PS3 because I've never played Sport, and uh, I haven't really heard anybody talk about GT7. So, except that it's very pretty and Gran Turismo.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I kind of wish it was still an HBO Max exclusive, but we know what happened to the one that was going to release last year as a HBO Max exclusive. So
It's not HBO Max anymore, bro. It's just Max.
yeah, well, yeah, sorry, Max. God,
Did you actually see the new trailer for Barbie? It looks so weird.
there's a new trailer for Barbie.
Yeah, it's super meta.
I'll have to watch it.
And then the new trailer for recently came out for Kraken, Teenage Kraken. It actually looks worse, the second trailer, than it did the first trailer, which is like surprising to me.
Yeah. It doesn't. It seems like it doesn't know what it wants to be, except mermaids are bad.
So the first trailer really got me. I was like, oh, cool. And then the second trailer, I was like, oh, that's kind of, let's see.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be like with competition with Elemental, probably do solid numbers, but nothing spectacular unless, I don't know, especially since it's opening the same day as Indiana Jones. So yeah, I think it's going to be lost in the shuffle there, but I'll give it a watch, especially if Indiana Jones isn't going to be in 3D.
Okay. Any other movies 2023 that you're excited about?
Um, I kind of want to see that one coming out in June, the latest Wes Anderson movie, Asteroid City or Asteroid. I can't remember the name of that explicitly. Um, the Color Purple musical, even though I think it looks really bad, based on that trailer, it just looks awful. But I would still watch it just out of curiosity.
Okay.
And the Equalizer 3, I like the Equalizer movies, even though the second one wasn't that great. But I like Denzel Washington. That looks like fun.
Flaming Hot on Disney Plus.
It looks interesting, but I've heard stories that like that actually didn't happen. Like it wasn't actually the janitor who did it. But I don't want to knock down without knowing the full and open story. But it
Yeah.
seems like a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that originally that was like the thing that they said, and it's a good story, and then they're like, yeah, it's not true. It's just good marketing. I was like,
Yeah,
what? What? Oh, but wait, it is true. It's just not exactly true. It's like, okay, I don't know what's really happening anymore. I mean, it's just good marketing. Maybe there's some nugget of truth in there. It's just kind of like how all the biopics get changed up, and they're like, oh, that's not the same thing.
right.
Do you have any revelations? Anything? Any megaton announcements? You're like, oh my god, I'm actually an alien or something. Thing you want to reveal?
I'm an alien. No, nothing really. I'm usually very straight up with people. So, I mean,
But you know what I mean, though. Like a lot of TV shows and movies, the final series, you get a revelation, and classic Jake and new Jake are actually mom and dad or something stupid like that.
Daddy. No, I really don't have anything like that, unfortunately.
You're not a time traveler for the year 3000.
No, I wish I knew. I wish I was to see what it'd be like. See if it's anything like Futurama. Oh, I'm super surprised that Futurama's coming back.
You're not a Senator Manch's love child.
uh, uh, Well, no. I unfortunately look like my father.
Um, do you actually listen to the podcast, or have you listened to the podcast when you're not on it?
I have before, but like I really don't like listening to my own voice, so I haven't listened to anything that I've been in.
Do you have any plans for stuff you're gonna do after the website ends? Like, do you have plugs you want to say? Do you have a YouTube channel or anything?
I don't have a YouTube channel. Uh, I would like to do a podcast at some point of something. I don't know what, but my work schedule's being weird and kind of being in an apartment with no space to record anything is also a limiting factor for the time being. So I
Do you
don't
have
have any future plans yet.
okay? Do you have any any specific charities you want people to donate to, or specific causes that you say, oh, this is something they should do?
I mean, I think people should donate blood to the Red Cross because they always need it. And unfortunately, where I'm a chonk, I can't donate blood or plasma or whatever, but that's always a good one to support because it goes to a lot of causes. I try not to support like the big ones, through work. I donate, through a charity called United Way because it's the only one they offer. I'm like, why not? Get a tax write off for it. But I don't know. It's like something that actually does something is always the best. Does something positive. Let's rephrase that because there are some charities that just do awful things.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little moment of time, and you can use the time whatever way you want to. You could say whatever you want. I won't censor it. I won't delete it. I won't, change it. So I'm giving you the mic. If you want to rant about whatever you want to rant about, go for it. The mic is yours.
All right. I really don't have a whole lot to say, but it's just been fun. This whole experience. I never thought I would be picked. I don't know why I was picked, but I'm glad I did. It was just I just had fun, even though since 2016 we've lived in fairly turbulent times. Damn you, death of Harambe. But it was just I've had fun these past few years that I've done this. Life, just doing it during COVID just gave me something to distract me from COVID. Luckily, we didn't do anything like Gal Gadot with singing Imagine, but I don't know. It's just been a lot of fun. I got to meet new people, got to hear people's opinions on things, even though a lot of the times we were similar in tune, but usually for different reasons of why we're given similar scores. We also had differentiating scores and stuff, and it's just a fun compare and contrast. And I will never forget those times. I absolutely love you guys and
Oh,
everybody who listens.
okay. I didn't know if you wanted to encourage everybody to go vote, or you said donate blood, and
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I already said those things in the past and recently with the blood thing. So I mean, do it. I mean, encourage you to vote no matter what your political affiliation is. But just if you want change, vote, or better yet, try to do political office. Even like a simple thing as city councilman or whatever, park recreation district manager. I don't know,
just
just do
vote.
whatever. Just vote or get a job in politics if you want to. Just don't sell out. Don't compromise your integrity. Just be yourself. Uh, unless you're racist, then fuck off.
All right. Anything else you want to say? Anything other movies? Anything you're like, oh yeah, I want to mention this or that or.
I mean, just Godspeed and look forward to the future. You never know what it's going to bring.
All right. Well, with that, I guess it's time to say goodbye for the last time. How
It
does
was
it make you feel?
bittersweet.
Bitter.
Bittersweet.
All right. Well, goodbye, Jake. Jacob. You,
Goodbye.
Jake.
Goodbye, Adolf.
Goodbye to everybody.
Sayonara. Reverderity.